Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Welcome, 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 and happy new year. I can't believe it is 2024, January 1st. It's the new year. So just happy new year. I'm so excited for all to be here and joining me today on this very first live training of the year. And actually, the first live training I've done like this before. So I'm very excited to be here with you all. Feel free to, drop questions and put hype into the chat. And I hope everyone had such an amazing Christmas and all of their holidays. And if you had a birthday in between, like me, happy birthday. Again, I'm just so excited for y'all to be on this training today and just a little context. And if you've been in my world prior, if you're brand new into my world, I just want to course, introduce myself and then give a little context to how this training will be ran today. So if you are in the Afterlife Altering membership program, that is a little bit different where we all are on Zoom together. And of course, we all get opportunities to share and talk. This training, I'll just be leading on each of the topics. So it's more of just a listening. And of course, you can be in the chat, dropping questions, hyping up things that resonate with you and so forth. But there won't be any like unmuting or chatting on the topics. And if that's a space that you're interested in and actually talking and meeting with the other people in the community, then the membership program is definitely where you want to be. And I just feel if a little bit about what I've been doing, I've been coaching over the last year, and I just had one, signature offer, which was my 5-month one-on-one coaching package called the iPowerment Program. So that I launched that in January of last year. It, has been such an amazing experience. And then in October, I launched the membership program so that we could all come together and meet and talk and hang out. And I bring in different speakers and we just dive into different topics in the membership program as well too. And this year, I'm just feeling more ready and amped and on fire than ever before to do more of these kind of trainings and master classes and different programs and offers and masterminds. So stay tuned for all of that. Again, I'm just so grateful for all of you that have been in my world and showing up and just being a part. And it's been such a life-changing experience for myself. And I know a lot of the people that I work with. So it's just, yeah, it's amazing. And I'm also, I have a little bit, I'm coming down with something. So if my voice cracks or sounds a little weird, I'm sorry. Um, so again, thank you all for being here on New Year's Day. I'm so excited. And this will be, it's obviously recorded. It will be shared on YouTube and then sent out in email so you can rewatch it as many times as you wish. Um, okay, so if you don't know who I am, my name is Shelby. I lost my eye almost 3 years ago at this point. It was in a snowboarding incident, very sudden, very traumatic, and the scariest thing that I ever went through at that time in my life. And I was 30 years old and didn't really know what the outcome was going to be or how I was going to live my life. I did not know that people lost eyes or wore prosthetic eyes. And I felt very stuck, in my life of like, how do I move forward? Like, am I going to be okay? What does this mean for my future? And just overcoming the whole injury and you know, situation and moving forward. And not only was I able to do that in a way that I'm going to kind of go through and talk about today, but then turn around and go and help other people. And, really it wasn't, for me, it wasn't just like, okay, I need to recover from this and get back to my normal life. Which that would be totally great. And that's what definitely where I help people too, is like whatever they want to get back to. But my big thing is like, where can we increase the quality of our lives from a situation like this? So if you've been in an injury, an accident, I often think everybody that's in one of those has this moment, maybe like a light switch type of moment that is that sudden change in perspective of like life's really short or like, who do I want to be from this moving forward? And sometimes that looks, different in everybody's stages. But that happens inside. And so my job and where I really want to like grow and help people is like they go through, have an accident, something really traumatic, injury, they lose a body part or some sort of ability again. And it's like, okay, not just getting back to life, because we do owe it to ourselves to get back to life, but like we owe it to ourselves, I think, even more to have a better quality of life, like better than we could have ever imagined pre-accident, pre-incident. So that is my mission. That is where I help people at any stage. It can be, day one, year one of their injury, accident, or multiple, maybe 20 years ago it happened, and maybe you just got back to your life and it's been pretty good. It's been great, happy, but it's like you have that little itch, that scratch, like there is something more for me, from me. Oh, Cheyenne, hi. There you're asking yourself, there is something more for me, there is something greater for me, and just showing up in whatever the best quality of your life means for you. So there's our little back context. And so the topics I'm covering today, and I think are great for the new year, is momentum, capacity, celebration, certainty, and courage. So we're going to start with momentum. I did talk a lot on my live the other day on Instagram on courage and certainty, but we're going to kind of talk about those again too today. So momentum. This again can look so different for every person at every stage of their injury or accident. So at the beginning, we lose a lot of momentum, and that is totally okay. Like we have to have so much compassion for ourselves and really take the time to rest, to heal, to sleep, to kind of feel knocked down. It's okay to feel knocked down. That's not what I'm saying at all. Acknowledging that, having a lot of compassion, being with yourself. And then there's the mindset shift of like, okay, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to get my life back. I'm going to increase the quality of my life in this time, even if I'm not physically being able to momentum myself out of bed or to the activities that I want to be doing or the things I want to be doing, like physically, my momentum's not there. Like that's okay. But like where mentally can I create more momentum for myself, a stronger view of myself, stronger view of how I want to show up in the world, how I want to love, how I want to feel gratitude, how I want to feel excitement and that fire, and how I want to help other people. And then maybe you're multiple years, it's been 20 years. It's like, okay, where's my momentum at? And how can I like double down on this momentum? And that doesn't mean like go do more. It's this momentum is this internal like fire, this feeling inside. And I think we often look for external things to create this momentum. Like when this happens, then I'll like go and do this. Or, when this happens, then I'll be able to like get the ball rolling. Or when the doctor says this, then I can, start to change my thoughts. Or, these external things. But what really needs to happen, even at day one, is that internal momentum. So finding that place inside, even if it's just for a half a day or like even an hour a day, if you're at the beginning and it feels impossible to have any sort of momentum mentally, physically, asking yourself like, okay, where can I have a little bit of momentum today within myself? Like I'm going to be okay. I'm going to daydream of all of the amazing things that this experience could bring to my life. And that can be really hard and very like certain about those things. And it don't even have to like pinpoint what it's going to be. It's just like, how can this experience truly be the best experience for me? Like, what am I going to learn about myself that I never would have learned prior? Where am I going to grow so much in capacity from this, which we're going to talk about next? So much courage, so much certainty, so much celebration that I never stopped and celebrated or looked at or reflected on before. So again, we owe it to ourselves to find that internal momentum, to be like, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to push through. I'm going to figure this out. I can reach out for help. I can have a support system, my family, my friends, community, get into a membership program. I can do things that make my insides feel better. And that for me looked like meditating, writing my thoughts and feelings, listening to podcasts that were like inspirational and motivational, doing trainings, investing in coaching, just anything that kind of made that little fire inside me like go a little brighter at the beginning. And I still do it this day. Like anytime that fire is dim, I do something to like make myself feel better. And even listening to like positive music or just the music that I enjoy. Maybe it's taking a ride. Like the beginning, sometimes I wasn't driving, but I'd get in the car with a friend and we would just drive around, like the simplest things. And then I would try to find beauty in all of the simplest things. I could have at the beginning been like, oh, this sucks so bad. Like, why did this happen to me? This is not fair. And some of those thoughts popped in. I'm not saying that they didn't, but I really, really could have let this take me down for good or really made me negative for the rest of my life or sad or depressed or really just never like saw any beauty in anything ever again. And I made a decision powerfully within that internal motivation and momentum that I was going to see the beauty in everything still. That I was going to lead from this place and find my heart and what I'm passionate about. I was going to help other people. I felt like I owed it to myself. It was my job to be happy, like truly, truly happy with myself after something like this. So finding that internal momentum, and it could be just a little sliver every day, and then it's the consistency. So we can't just have that internal momentum one day and expect it to last the whole year. It's got to be that consistency every single day. And I'm not saying that there's not going to be days that you're like, I have nothing in me. I just need to lay in bed and sleep. And like, that's okay. But just acknowledge kind of that as well too. And maybe really be like, okay, this is what I need today. And that's okay. Have like that compassion, that growing, that compassion for yourself. That's momentum. Growing when you know that you need to self-care and rest. That can be momentum. It's growing the mindset of momentum, until we're back to doing the physical things. And for me, that looked like, when I was cleared and the doctor said I was good, I just went for walks. And then from walks, I started doing some yoga. And then from yoga, I went to the gym, but I was only doing body weight, like lunges and squats. And then from there, I started adding 5 pounds, 10 pounds. And then now I'm, back lifting heavy. But I remember that first walk I took with my mom. She was in town visiting. I remember the first time I went to the gym and I didn't use any body weights, but I still did some of the movements. I remember the time I went to the gym, I started using weights and I was so, so sore. Like those things. And I found all of these moments like, okay, this is momentum and I can keep building on this. And like, this is so great. And I'm going to keep building not only the physical place, but the mental place. And it comes from that internal power. And of course, we can somewhat look for outside things to get us restarted, revamped, but it's up to us to have that consistency every single day about it. And you got it in you. I know you do. And it's so worth it to find that place, to find that momentum internally, that little fire, and to start building on that. You don't have to go out and like change everything. This is what I was sharing about all of like 2023, the last month. I was like, I know we want to like go out there and change everything about ourselves come the new year. And I was really trying to stress the importance or the training of like, let's take everything of 2023, every single thing from January 2023 all the way to December of 2023 that you have learned, that you have experienced, all of the knowledge, all of the failures, all the mistakes, all of the trial and error, every single look, like we look back through our calendar and through our pictures and through all of the trainings or anything that we did. Okay, we compile all of that. And that's like our foundation. This is like for your momentum. That's your foundation. Now, where in that, can we level up just a teeny bit or turn the dial up just a teeny bit? Where can we just, one little here, like maybe more throughout the day? Maybe it's like how you wake up in the morning and then how you go to bed at night. And that's a lot I do within the one-on-one coaching. So it's a lot of mindset stuff like that we're talking about, but also the practical stuff, which is like our routine, our daily routine of like waking up and going to bed and everything in between, like so powerfully, so in momentum and certainty and celebration, capacity and love and that fire and courage, choosing courage. That's really what it boils down to. Deciding to take this momentum internally and move forward each and every step, that takes courage. It takes courage to like go through something like this and be like, hey, I actually want to make something even greater of this. I want my life to be like so amazing. Even if it was so amazing before, I want it to be even more amazing. I deserve that. I deserve to make an amazing life no matter what I've gone through. And I can do it. And I know it takes courage and it's scary, but I gotcha. You can do it. So then when we talk about momentum, which is such a great, thing to think about this month as whatever, goals maybe you did set for the year, you did do a resolution. I'm not saying that you need to do any of that. Like, where can you acknowledge the momentum that you've already created? Where can you acknowledge like, okay, I can turn up the momentum a little bit here, and keep that momentum going. So maybe this is something that you listen to at the end of the month again to be like, okay, momentum. Do I still have it internal, that internal momentum? Am I feeling it? Am I doing it? Am I showing up when I say I'm going to show up? Am I showing up for myself each and every day? And then we really start to learn our capacity, what we are capable of. And I think when we go through something as traumatic as losing an eye injury, or just any sort of injury, we grow our capacity immediately. Like if we can go through that, recover from that, and just get back out of bed, like our capacity is way bigger than it was prior. But again, it comes down to like, okay, do I just want, like, where do I know I can take on that? What else can I take on? And I'm not saying you need to take on the world unless you want to. I mean, I felt like I wanted to take on the world. That's like where my motivation is coming from, my momentum. But your capacity could just be like, I want to show up for my family a little bit more. I want to show up in my own life, my own power, my own certainty, my own momentum, just for myself a little bit more. And I know I'm so capable of that because of everything I've already been through. And sometimes we have to like do things that we don't want to do, or we do things when we don't feel great, or we do things when we are having a hard day. Maybe we ask ourselves like, okay, can I do this? It's 1 hour, it's 2 hours, it's a half a day. Can I do this? I don't want to. I don't feel great. I'm not up for it. But then we do it and we realize that we can do it and our capacity grows. Sometimes it is like doing those things that seem really, really hard. And that's when our capacity grows even more. We realize how much we can take on. And if you're, working in my world and you're wanting to grow your momentum, like you've got to grow your capacity too at the same time. And it's more of this awareness piece. You can move along your life, like doing all this cool stuff and think that you're like, okay, I want to take on more, but there might be a little bit of a block there just because you haven't recognized like, oh my gosh, I've already taken on so much, or I can do so much, or my capacity is a lot bigger than I thought it was. So it's like, as soon as you kind of acknowledge your capacity and where it's at right now, that's when you can either like shift and make adjustments and to take on a little bit more, or grow in a little bit different, or add a little bit more momentum, or just find that momentum stronger and deeper inside. Or maybe you are taking on too much and there's a burnout, and there is a difference. So when we, really feel that burnout because we've taken on way too much, we're not taking care of ourselves, like we need to recognize that too. And it takes radical responsibility and accountability to know the difference and to be honest with yourself about the difference and then to make adjustments with that. So again, any questions you can drop in the chat below. We're going to keep going. So 1 second. Okay. So momentum, capacity, and then next is celebration. So this is huge, huge, huge. So if you're in my world, you know that I love to do this. And I think this is so big, no matter where you are at in your life-altering event, or you're out in your vision loss, your incident, your accident, is the celebration portion. So this comes with just genuinely celebrating yourself every step of the way. So it might even feel like at the beginning, this is what I felt like, I'm taking a few steps forward, but then like 10 steps back. Or like I would be like, why is there anything to celebrate? I can barely like function throughout the day. I'm so tired. And it's really hard to celebrate when you're like uncertain about your future, when you feel like you have no momentum, like you can't take on anymore. But I challenge you to find every little thing that you can celebrate through your journey. So if you're at the beginning of your journey, you just had your incident, any small little step, and that can even be a mindset shift that you've had. That can even be like, oh, I woke up this morning and I felt a little bit better. Or I went to bed tonight and I like actually feel like I'm gonna be okay. So every little step at the beginning, celebrate that, acknowledge that. And then if you're further along in your injury or your vision loss, whatever you're experiencing, and you've kind of grown in that momentum, you've grown in that capacity, like we still don't celebrate ourselves nowhere near as much. Like for what we've been through and what we've overcome, you want to be celebrating all the time. Why not? Like, why not celebrate, weekly or even monthly? Like my goal for 2024 is every month at the end of the month. So at the end of January, I'm going to literally celebrate the whole month, the good, the bad, the hard, like all of it, because why not? Like, I just think that if we ended and started every month, like in a huge celebration for ourselves, we'd grow more in our capacity, we'd grow more in our momentum. We just enjoy life. And that, like I said, at the beginning of this, I was like, my job and your job and what I want to create in this space is increasing everyone's quality of life, no matter where they're at in their stage, their vision loss, their journey, their accident, their incident. It's like having that hope, knowing like, okay, I can increase the quality of my life. And it starts with actually celebrating all of it. And that can look like if you, I mean, I'm like a big partier, as far as like, I like to have people over and like balloons and go out to dinner and invite a lot of people. And like for my 1 year anniversary of losing my eye, I literally threw a massive party. I invited all my friends and then I made them wear eye patches on one eye the whole time, so it's like, and if you celebrated an anniversary of your injury this past year, or if this past year was your first year of being in your injury, your vision loss, celebrate that. Like that's a really, really hard year and you made it through and you showed up and you're still here and you're listening to this, which means that you already like know that like your life is valuable and you deserve to increase the value of your life, just the overall feeling of your life. You deserve to be happy in every which way. So celebrate yourself. And if you've, lived your whole life with your injury, your vision loss, like celebrate your life, celebrate that. That's amazing. And you're here listening to this, like, that like there's a little bit more out there for you. You know that you can grow in your mindset, in your momentum, in your capacity. And like, that's amazing that you have that fire, you have that drive, that you're interested in all of that. Like so amazing. So celebrate every little thing each week or each day before you put your head on the pillow. Like, what did I want to celebrate today? I shared this on my Instagram. It's like when I put my head on my pillow at night now, I am not thinking about all the things I didn't get done, the emails I didn't answer to, the things I forgot to do, or this to-do list or that. Like, I want to put my head on my pillow at night and be like, holy crap, like, what a great day. Like, you made a new connection, you talked to someone, you had a good conversation, you posted on Instagram, you led this training. I watched a training. I did some coaching for myself, received coaching, gave coaching. I had a perspective change. I went out to dinner, whatever it is. It's like, I want to just celebrate every night because I know those to-do lists, those other things are going to get done, and they get done a lot easier, faster when I feel really good. And the way to feel really good is to celebrate and be in gratitude for all the things. So maybe you do that nightly, weekly, or monthly, but celebrate yourself. Celebrate, celebrate, celebrate. It is so worth it. And that will create, I promise, even more of that internal momentum I was talking about at the beginning. That will create even more capacity that I was talking about just barely. And that will create an overall better quality of life if you just do that one thing. And that's like wrapped in a bow with gratitude. I think like celebrating and acknowledging like all the good and even all the bad, the hard stuff, and celebrating that's like also where that gratitude comes in, that like shift in perspective, that actually being present when we're like each day, like, okay, cool. What did I do today? Today was awesome. Today maybe wasn't so awesome, but I still am willing to look at that and be okay with that and let that just be. And tomorrow is a new day. Tomorrow I can, do things differently or have a different thought, could wake up differently. I can reach out for help. I can be in a community. I can do, whatever it is that your insides are going to feel better doing. I can do that tomorrow. I can do that even tonight before I go to bed if I want. It's just taking, again, that personal power. And that's really like what I shared too, is like, during that first 6 months, I was like, Shelby, you have a decision. And it can be, you can let this take you down and kind of just be your life and be a bummer and unfortunate, or you have that decision to step into your personal power and be like, okay, this is not going to take me down. There is so much I can do with my life and share, and I can even have a better quality of life after this if I have that perspective, if I have that mindset. And that was my mindset. And that was the mindset I chose and decided to choose and continue to choose over and over, even when it gets hard. I'm not saying I'm perfect and things aren't hard for me to this day. There's lots of hard things, but just how I view it. And I still have to remind myself regularly, like, Shelby, it's going to be okay. You got this. Where can I grow my momentum? Where can I celebrate? How much capacity do I really have? I know how much I have. I know I can grow that too, which is like really cool. And then we're going to talk about certainty. So I did talk about this a little bit on my Instagram live. So if you watch that, great. And if not, great. I'm glad you're here. So when we talk about certainty, again, that kind of all these topics I like to put together a little bit because they do feed into one another. And so the certainty is, again, an inside, a mental mindset job. So when I, shared at the beginning, when I was first in my incident, first lost my eye, I had zero certainty about my future, about what this meant for my future, just about myself in general. I like really was uncertain about everything, and that's okay. And like I said, you can be there, you can acknowledge all of that. You can have so much compassion for all of that. Of course, you're uncertain. Of course, this is super scary. You've never done this. You've never been through this. You've never been through anything like this. This is all brand new. Like, of course, this is scary, and that's okay. But I started to learn that, like, okay, this is, again, an internal job, just like the internal momentum. Like, we try to look for outside things. Certainty for me is internal. So I can't look for outside things to create that my certainty for myself. Even though I think that's what we often want to do. It's like, okay, again, when the doctor says this, then I'll feel certain. Or when I start working out again, then I'll feel certain I can do that. Or when this happens, then I'll feel certain. Rather than like, I already feel certain about my future, myself, how I'm going to show up, what this means for me prior to anything external, because I get to decide the certainty of how I feel. And then again, starts with that wake up in the morning, like, all right, I got this. I'm going to be okay. No matter what happens today, Shelby, I'm going to be okay. I have all of the tools I need if I come up against something rough or I'm not feeling good. I have like so much certainty for my future today because I grew that at the beginning in that first year. I think having no certainty really teaches you how to gain that internal certainty. And again, that's something you can keep growing the more you like lean into it and you work on it. So like it's everything that I'm like already so certain about myself. Like I know I'm going to show up. I know I'm consistent. I know I'm going to do the things I say I'm going to do. So I'm certain about all of those. Maybe where am I not certain? Like might still be uncertain about my future a little bit. Okay, but why? Where can I like fill in those gaps for myself, that internal fire, like create that within. And I think often we look for other outside relationships or income or job opportunities or this or that for that certainty, but it's the opposite, like creating so much certainty in the like inevitability of your future, and the inevitability of like being in a relationship, being financially stable, whatever it is. It's like you already know that's inevitable because of the certainty you've created within yourself. That certainty creates that momentum. That momentum creates capacity, and you're celebrating it all. Like it is inevitable, whatever it is. But it starts with that certainty first within. Hopefully, you all are following. And I know sometimes at the beginning, if you're just now, experiencing your vision loss, your injury, a lot of this, because I think at the time for me, I was just trying to figure it all out. And so this might not, click right away, and that's totally okay. You can go back and listen to this as much as you want, or I promise in like 6 months or maybe even a year or sometime down the line, you're going to be like, have this aha moment, like, oh, I feel that. I know what she's talking about. Like, that makes sense. Okay, now I get it. Because it really, like, as I say these things sometimes, they're like, be like, okay, that kind of makes sense, but like not until you feel it or you experience that level of certainty, that level of momentum, that level of capacity, of celebration that you're like, oh, okay, I feel that. That makes sense. I know what she's talking about now. So just hang in there. When you'll feel it. Hopefully just some of the stuff encourages you to go out there. And, I think once we put a thought into our mind and we're like, okay, I wonder what that would feel like, then those opportunities come to us and we're like, oh, okay, I felt that. That makes sense. So it's about just taking in and absorbing the information. You don't have to do anything with it yet, just like hearing it and being like, okay, where can I create that internal momentum, that feeling, that fire, or whatever that feels like to you. For me, like I said, it feels like a fire. For other people, internal momentum could actually feel really not so fiery, but more like grounded. Like, okay, I feel rock solid, like walking up bricks, or whatever. You can create your own image or feeling of that momentum, that certainty of like it could be really calm and solid or fiery and like out there. So yeah, you choose. And then with all of this, obviously, as mentioned at the beginning, is like that courage piece or portion. So it's really important and hard sometimes, especially at the beginning. I keep saying this, to have like a lot of courage. And that's why I brought this at the end. And this is like equally as important as everything else. And it's like not like, okay, we got to get momentum. and then we got to grow our capacity, and we got to celebrate, and then we got to do certainty, and then courage. It's not like that. Like they all intertwine with one another. So sometimes it's like, okay, I'm building my momentum over here, which then I realize is growing my capacity at the same time. I'm celebrating in between. My certainty is rising as my momentum's rising, as I'm celebrating, and then like courage is really fed and weaved all the way through it. And courage, again, is like that internal work, that mindset, that recognizing, like, okay, I'm already so courageous. I've been courageous, like, ever since, I was born, but then really, like, the things that we go through in life continue to show us how courageous we are. And we sometimes don't recognize that. And we think that, like, our fear gets in the way, which then makes us think that, like, oh, we're not that courageous. And that's not the truth. Like, fear is our brain's job to keep us safe. And so again, it's that compassion piece. I always tell myself, like, when my mind turns on and it's like, Shelby, don't do that. Like, that's scary. You've never done that before. We don't know how that's going to work out. What if people judge you? What if people don't like you? What if this happens? What if this happens? What if the worst case scenario happens? Like, my brain's job is to protect me. And so I get to be like, okay, brain, like, thank you for protecting me. That's super sweet. I appreciate your thoughts. I appreciate you being there, but it's okay. I'm going to do it anyways. I got my own back. I'm in my momentum. I'm celebrating. Even if it's a fail, I'm going to celebrate it because I learned something. I'm growing in my certainty, and I know the only way to continue to build certainty within myself is to take really courageous steps and actions and move forward. But again, it's that foundation I talked about. Like, can you look at this last year and see how much courage you already have? Like, just being here, you've got courage. So all of that is like your foundation. You can just start there and then build momentum in your courage. That's like that little extra push each time you want to do something that's scary. Like, okay, I already like survived this accident, this incident. Like, that's super scary. And that was really courageous. And then not only that, but I decided like that this wasn't going to like impact the rest of my life. I had two options. I could either let this take me down forever. Like, we're going to get knocked out again. Like, that's just how life is. We get knocked down. And we always have a choice to either rise or not to. And just the rising a little bit is that courage. And you can keep rising no matter what if you choose. And it's that responsibility and just accountability and that choice to going in and just asking yourself, like, do I want to rise through this? And sometimes, the more we start to acknowledge these knockdowns, like, we can rise a little quicker or a little easier or a little more seamlessly. But, the big ones obviously take us down, and that's okay. And we can be down, and then we get to make that decision. Okay, it's time to rise. And this is how I'm going to rise first. I'm going to just start building a little bit momentum in my mindset, in my energy, in my vibe, maybe just my vibe. I'm just going to rise a little bit and get some momentum in my overall vibe for the day, feeling. And then I'm going to start to grow my capacity. Like, maybe I do a little bit extra today, or maybe I show up to that thing I said I was going to do, which is also how we build confidence. We'll talk about that on a different call. Or I'm going to just look at all the capacity I already have because it's amazing. I can keep growing in that. And I'm going to just celebrate everything. And then I know that certainty, that fire within me is going to keep me going if I don't lose sight of it. So often we get shiny objects or something happens, we get knocked down again, and we're like, I can't believe this would happen to me. And I just went through that. I just recovered. Like, I felt this at my eye injury. So it was COVID. We were literally just coming out of COVID. I'd also gotten sober that year. So I was 10 months into my sobriety. It was like 10 months, like COVID. So COVID happened like in April. I got sober April 28th. And then 10 months later, so in February, I had the incident that my eye was then ended up getting removed a couple months later. So I felt like I remember thinking this like one thing after another. I was like, oh my gosh, we just had COVID. And like then I just was barely getting sober. And then this would happen. Like this doesn't make any sense. Like this isn't fair. Like I keep getting knocked back or knocked down or sidestepped or just set back. Like I just felt like between COVID, my sobriety and eye injury was like a 5-year thing of like, I'm literally not going forward at all. And I thought for sure, like getting sober and like I'd built this strong foundation, getting sober, and I was really starting to like do things with my life again because that had, put my life on hold for so long. And then getting sober, I was like, oh, everything's like opening up again. And then this happens. I'm like, what the heck? So it's so easy to find and fall back and let those things continue to take us down or keep us down. And I understand. And you're totally allowed to feel that way. And you can honestly feel that way for as long as you want. Like that's your choice. But I think if you're on this or listening to this, there's a piece inside of you that's like, I don't want to feel that way forever. I want to take responsibility and personal power. And I like know I deserve like the best life ever, better than I could have ever imagined even prior to this. Because things like this really shake us up. And that's good. That's okay. Maybe not our favorite way to get shake it up. I'm like, sometimes I'm working with clients and I'm like, I know it's not like how we would have picked, but the universe or God, if you believe in God or whatever faith you have, sometimes we really just have to like have these moments that are really scary, really hard, really like unfortunate at that time, and maybe even for the rest of our lives, because we aren't ever going to be the same. And that's okay. But how can we increase our quality of life regardless? Show up regardless, have and build momentum regardless, grow our capacity and our love and our gratitude and our celebration for ourselves, for our family. Look at the beauty in all the little things. Recognize each and every experience we're having is like the best experience for us at that time. And what can I learn, good or bad, from this? Everything's, a lesson, a learning, a growth. Slowing down enough to feel all of that. Because if we're just racing through life, we're just trying to get past it all, get over this injury, heal, get back to our work, get back to the busyness, get back, do this. Like, we're going to miss all this. We're going to miss the growth. We're going to miss that internal feeling. We're going to miss the beauty of like being at our lowest of low and rising to our highest of high. And it's the journey that matters. And you're building so much courage. You are. It's just that will come naturally the more you say yes to yourself, the more you keep showing up for yourself, the more you build that momentum, you keep stacking momentum, your capacity, your celebration, your gratitude, your consistency. There's a lot of C words I throw out here with capacity and celebration and certainty and courage and confidence. And for me, I know sometimes courage really looks like or feels like a lack in self-belief. So when I am scared to do something, it's majority of the time because I don't believe that I can. I don't believe that it's possible for me. I don't believe that I'm going to like get the return on investment if it's something an investment wise. I don't believe that I can go to the gym 5 times a week and look different. I don't believe I can eat healthier. I don't believe I can maintain my goals. I don't believe that I can like have momentum every day. So it's like that lack in self-belief. And that's okay. It's acknowledging those things again. Okay, so I might be feeling scared or not so courageous because I just don't believe in myself enough. And like, okay, why don't I believe in myself? And is that really true? And like, how can I believe in myself a little bit? And sometimes when we're building that self-belief, it is that momentum piece. So just growing our momentum a little by little, day by day, one day at a time, grows our self-belief and our courage. So I want you all to get out there. Happy, happy, happy New Year. Start building a little bit of momentum no matter where you are at today. Start tuning into and locking into that certainty within yourself, that courage within yourself, that capacity for yourself. Celebrate everything, every little step, big, small. Celebrate that you made it to the new year. It's 2024. Maybe you drink some champagne today. Maybe you lay on the couch, but you celebrate like it's a celebration today for all you did last year, just what you did today, being on this call, being here. It's amazing. And you owe it to yourself to just live so happy, so free, so powerfully. And you can do it all. I know you can. You've got it in you. You've got so much courage. You really do. So again, thank you so much. I'll be doing more of these trainings, similar, different topics throughout the whole year, probably pretty regularly. I'll send out emails. So make sure you're on the iHesive email list. And then, master classes will be coming up, masterminds. I do have my one coaching package, which is the 5-month one-on-one coaching package. And then I launched a birthday special, which today is the last day because my birthday was on the 27th. So today's the last day to receive that. And it's actually like kind of a Kickstarter birthday package. So it's a 1 month, so 4 weeks of one-on-one coaching with text message support in between, like daily if you need it or as often as you need it. And that's just a really good way to reboot your routine, your schedule. And that's really where the kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? The process of like getting your routine, your schedule, no matter where you're at, like in order for this month. And then it's a lot of like mindset as well. And then it's the working through more of the C's, the courage, the capacity, the certainty, and then also like choosing fire over fear. So we just unravel all of your fears. This is what I do throughout my coaching too, but this is a condensed 1 month training, coaching, one-on-one coaching, unravel those fears, show up in that fire, and then building a future for yourself, like seeing and envisioning yourself in the future, whatever that looks like to you 6 months from now, 9 months from now, 1 year from now. Maybe you want to build your own community. Maybe you want to help people, have a nonprofit, start a business, or maybe you just want to show up for your family, for your own life a little bit more happy, more deeply, more compassionate, more certainty. Whatever it is that you desire the most, we'll do that. You'll do that. You'll get that. You get it all. All right. So the birthday special, I got my one-on-one coaching, more things like this will be coming. And then also we have the Afterlife Altering Membership Program. So that we meet 3 times a month, and that's where the whole community comes together. We're on Zoom, but it's less of me talking, more of y'all talking. You get to share your stories, talk with one another, ask questions, interact. So that's very much community, Zoom calls, hangouts, meetups, fun time. So that's, you can join that. And that right now for the birthday special, you can use code ALA33 at checkout and get 33% off of the membership. And then of course, all of the merch. So we've got One Eye Gang hoodies and t-shirts, all different sizes. Those are on sale right now too. Again, 33% off. So at ihesive.com, use code 33 at checkout, get 33% off of all your merch. Today is the last day for all of that. So if you are interested in joining the membership, you want to do it today, ordering any merch, do that today. If you want to do this birthday celebration 1 month coaching package, you can reach out to me. We can get that set up. You can email me at customercare@ihesive.com or reach out to me on Instagram or Facebook. And that's 1 month, 4 sessions for 333. It's my 33rd birthday. So we made everything 33. So 333, great deal. We'll really, really go deep, dive into things like reset you up, get you going for the year in whatever way you're, wherever you're at now and wherever you see yourself going. We're going to get you set up, feeling really comfortable, confident, motivated, in that momentum, loving life, showing up for yourself and loving yourself the whole way. So it's not just about doing all these things that you don't want to do. It's about doing the things you want to do and really enjoying the process. You deserve it all. All right. If you got any questions, please email me, reach out. I am here for you. I am looking forward to seeing you in the future in some way, whether that just be on social media maybe, or in one of my other packages or containers. But I'm just here for you always in any way. All right. Love y'all. Happy New Year. Have such an amazing rest of your day and week. Celebrate all of it. Okay. Bye.